What's up, VC? What's up, Vinyl community? It's Dan hanging out with you. Hopefully, you guys are having an amazing weekend. I know the weather is absolutely beautiful, even though an hour has been stolen from our lives. There's nothing we can do about it. It's out of our control, folks. I never did understand the whole, you know, setting clocks an hour forward, setting them back. What's What's the meaning behind it? I don't know. Maybe somebody out there in the VC knows the meaning behind this and can explain it to me. I've looked it up and I've still gotten zero explanations that are satisfying at all. Anyway, how are you guys doing? It's been a while since I've made a video. Thank you so much for tuning in to the latest video here from the listening room, which has changed, as you guys can probably tell by the setup has changed. We've added another Calyx unit. Just had to make some more room. Collecting too many records, guys. I guess it's a good kind of thing to happen, to collect too many records, but you do run out of space eventually, and these records are going to start taking over the entire room. But anyway, I'm hoping to fill these, by the way. Every single one of these slots. That's like the goal, right? And then we have to buy more Calyx units. Have to make another trip to St. Louis. Have to make another trip to IKEA. Speaking of trips to St. Louis, speaking of trips to IKEA, that was last weekend, and as I was getting ready for this video, I have a huge stack of records here. Look at this. I can't talk about all these in one video. That's just ridiculous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this up a little bit, and what I want to cover is basically the St. Louis Record Show, as you could tell by the title of the video. And then I'm going to get into the stuff that was bought that weekend that was not part of the record show, and also some VCLT that I received from a good friend of mine in person. By the name Brian at Cosmic Vinyl. So Cosmic Brian, I got to meet him last weekend, as well as some other people in the VC. I had another meetup with Sam. He lives around here, around the Central Missouri area, and he was at the St. Louis Record Show. I met him once before at In the Groove Records in Jeff City at Black Friday Record Store Day. So we met up there, and then we saw him at the St. Louis Record Show, and also his buddy, and his name is escaping me right now, but he had a friend there with him who was quite the new wave synth pop guy as well, and so we had some great conversations, and also met a guy that all of you know, and that is Brandon, Mr. Hall of Fame. So I got to meet him, which was really cool. And I got to hang out with him and Brian for a little while. And that was amazing. It's like, we've all seen each other's videos, and just meeting up face to face. It just, like Brandon said in his video, it kind of takes things to another level. And it was very cool meeting you guys. And I'm looking forward to more meetups. This is my favorite part of collecting vinyl, are the personal connections that we make. We make real friends out of this, and that's the best thing about the VC. I mean, we all interact with each other on our videos. We all comment. We like each other's videos, and we watch each other's videos. But actually meeting up is really cool, and it kind of just completes the cycle. And that's one of the coolest things about these flat wax plastic PVC discs that we all are obsessed with, is that it brings people together, and there is an actual community, and that is the coolest thing about it. So Brandon, Brian, Sam's buddy, it's great meeting up with you, and finally hanging out. So good times as always. So I picked up Brian at his hotel room in St. Louis on Sunday morning. We drove over to the Czech Hall, the Czech Education Center there in St. Louis, for the big record show. And we got there early. And apparently somebody had not shown up to unlock the place, so we kind of had to wait in line, which that was all right. We stood in line. Guess what we did? We were watching YouTube over there in the line. But when it finally did open, I got a stack of records about like this from the record show. Good stuff here. I got a bigger stack the day before, I think, but you know, I wasn't sure on how to delegate the money. Yeah, that's always the question, right? You don't want to spend all your money in the first place that you go, but then again, what if you don't get a chance to get the stuff and then you show up to the record show and there's nothing there? So what do you do? You got to split it up somehow. There's some kind of way that you've got to make it work out. The first record store always gets the shaft. So, you know, it's just kind of how it goes. However, I did buy some stuff at that first record show, but we'll get into that in another video. So I'm going to be covering that. So let's get on with some records. I know you guys are like, just shut up and show us what you got at the show. All right. So, this album, I still haven't listened to the whole thing ever. And you guys are going to be like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I kind of skipped over this record when I was a kid. I guess I kind of went from Blizzard of Oz straight to Bark at the Moon, and I completely bypassed Diary of a Madman by Ozzy Osbourne. So this has been one that's been on my list. I am familiar with a couple of the songs on here, which is Over the Mountain, and the song Flying High Again. I know that this is his last record with Randy Rhoads before Randy Rhoads was tragically killed in a plane accident. So this was in great shape. As you could see, it still has the shrink wrap on it inside there. And I bought this from Wiser Time. They are a dealer that shows up at these record shows, and this they're very. I like buying from this dealer specifically because they have notes on every single album that they sell, and this one is just minty fresh. Beautiful jet label there. They always put them in these nice disc keeper sleeves. They're always stored the way I like to store my records. So kudos to them, and a great buy. Ozzy Osbourne's Diary of a Madman. Still haven't listened to the whole thing. I've listened to Over the Mountain, and then I took it off. I just wanted to kind of hear how it sounded, and it sounds pretty amazing. So looking forward to actually diving in to this Ozzy record. So that was actually the first thing that I bought there. Now we're going in no particular order at all. You guys know how much of a big Cult fan I am if you've been watching my videos. If you haven't watched my videos up until this point, I'm a huge fan of the Cult. So anytime I see something different by the Cult, which is like Southern Death Cult, or I see an EP, or you know, something alive, or something interesting about them, all but 7 inches, I stay away from my 7-inch records. I'm not even cracking that. No. But I will get EPs, I will get maxi singles, stuff like that, cool stuff that you don't see that often. I've never seen this. It's the Cult Revolution EP. This is an import from England, and it's got 4 songs on it. It's got Revolution, All Souls Avenue, Judith, and Sunrise, and it's just amazing shape here. Picked this up, I want to say, for like $10. And I love the center label here with the yin yang, and then you have the kind of, I don't know if this is like a Dharma wheel or something like that, looking at kind of Red Hot Chili Peppers kind of logo there. But amazing stuff from the Cult as always. This is a 45 speed. It sounds so good on the record player. So I was very, very happy to have the Cult's Revolution EP. Always happy to add to the Cult collection. You guys, I'm still looking for a copy of The Cult from 1994. If anybody has any kind of way, anybody knows a connection, anybody knows anybody who has that record, I've got some trades, I've got some money, let's do something, all right? So if anybody, that is a missing link of my Cult collection, is The Cult. So if you ever see it, hit me up, because we'll do some wheeling and dealing. Trust me, guys. I've got some trade stuff down here that's just ready. I got some nice stuff that's ready to go if you ever run into that record. Anyway, so moving on, continuing and moving away from the Cult, but staying in the new wave, staying in the synth pop kind of era, and an album, Complete Blind Buy to me, like $5, $6, I think I might have given for this. This is Yaz, and the name of the album is You and Me Both. And I've put this on, I've listened to one side of it, and it is just synth pop goodness. As you know, Yazoo, they have an album called Upstairs at Eric's. I still don't have that album, but you don't see Yaz too often when you're in the stores. So I thought I'd better jump on this, and for the price, I mean, all these records were such good deals at the record show, and that's one of the things I love about the record show. Everybody is very willing to wheel and deal, and you're dealing with cash, so you can kind of just talk it up, and you could do all your cash. Hey, this is all I've got trick, and try to get the better deals, guys. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? So this is Yaz, You and Me Both. This is their 1984 release, and it's got a very cool cover with a couple of Dalmatians there playing in the snow. So pretty cool. Yaz, great synth pop there. Haven't really let it absorb in, but you guys know I'm a huge synth pop guy, so I'm sure it's going to be pretty incredible once I get a chance to actually listen to it. This one I got, I want to say I gave $3 for this one. I think I bought it from the same dealer that I bought the Cult record, and that is Stevie Wonder's Inner Visions. And this still has some shrink wrap on it. It's got its little sale tag on it, and I paid less than that for it. I gave $3 for this record. It's in mint condition, and it is a Spain pressing. It's a pressing from Spain. There's something about Madrid on here, and I believe there might be a Barcelona address on this as well. This is on the Motown label, and it says 5 on it, but I didn't pay that for it. Inner Visions from Stevie Wonder. If you guys are wondering which album this is, you never heard this album, the song Higher Ground is on this record, and it's funky, it's full of soul, and I love it. So yeah, great sounding album as well. So Stevie Wonder's Inner Visions, very happy to finally get that one. And guys, I mean, there's just run the gamut. Things I've been looking for, things, this next record, everybody has this record. Everybody except me had this record up until last weekend. So this is Honey Drippers and Sea of Love. So this is Robert Plant and some other guys. I'm not sure who they are. I want to say they're just like maybe there might be some people on here, but I want to say just mainly I think they're studio musicians. This has the cool Sea of Love hype sticker on it, and this is just some covers of some rock and roll, some oldies, and this is just some great stuff. It's a fun, easy listen album, and it's the Honey Drippers and their EP, their only EP. It's called Volume 1. And that's all we got. We never got a Volume 2, unfortunately. Okay, keep it going with some new wave here. Some new wave, maybe alternative, maybe dream pop. Maybe you would start. Maybe this is where Dream Academy. So maybe you would call this some dream pop. It's definitely got that dreamy kind of airy, ethereal, just easy to listen to sound. The Dream Academy here, I want to say these guys possibly, I think they're a Canadian band, and correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't really do my research, guys. They have a song on here, "Life in a Northern Town," and that's the big song that you might know. I used to play it when I played on the radio when I did my retro morning show, and I haven't listened to this record. I took it home, cleaned it up, kind of checked it, see if it was poppy and scratchy. It's got a little, it's imperfect. But for $3, couldn't pass it up. The Dream Academy's self-titled record here, The Dream Academy. So we get into some dream pop here, and very nice song. I loved Life in a Northern Town. Haven't really gone beyond that, so looking forward to checking that out and taking a listen. This next band was turned on to me from a guy that owns a shop in Jeff City. He's like, "Dan, have you ever heard of Roxy Music?" I'm like, "No." And that was a couple of months ago, and he has made a complete, I've heard of Roxy Music, I never heard them up until that point. He's made a complete Roxy Music fan out of me. This is their 1980 album, Flesh and Blood. This has the song In the Midnight Hour on it. It's a lot of fun. It's very Brian Ferry. It's very Roxy Music sounding. And, amazing covers Roxy Music always has. So this has been a great album. I've listened to this a couple of times this week, and I've really thoroughly enjoyed it. So Roxy Music there, Flesh and Blood. I want to say I gave $7 or $8 for this at the record show. I want to say the dealer was from Kansas City. So very, very cool. Very, very great sounding record. All right, moving along. I have a trifecta here of this cat's albums. It's Peter Gabriel. This is Security or Peter Gabriel 4. This album has Shock the Monkey on it, where he's getting kind of out there into more of the art pop kind of way. There's some synths on this. There's all kinds of experimental stuff happening on this record. And it sounds great. Peter Gabriel's Security album. Love the album cover on this as well. So, cool find. And I've got some more Peter Gabriel. Some early Peter Gabriel. This would be Peter Gabriel's third album. They call this one Melt for short, instead of Peter Gabriel 3. This, you would see the invention of the drum sound of the 80s that was actually done by nobody less than a guy I love, Phil Collins, who played on the first album, or played on the first song on this record, and the name of that song is called Intruder. And this is where they discovered how to record those drums to make those drums have that 80s sound. So you get a chance, check this album out. It's just a great record. It sounds phenomenal. And if you're a Genesis fan, if you're a Peter Gabriel fan, you'll really dig this album. So this also has Games Without Frontiers on it, which is one of my favorite Peter Gabriel songs as well. So great, and finally have all of the Peter Gabriel albums up until So. I acquired this one as well. So this is his first album. This has Salisbury Hill on it, which is the song, famous song about him leaving Genesis. So and just a great record. Peter Gabriel invented art pop, and pretty much I would say he was one of the inventors of art pop for sure, and just a great record. So finally rounded out my Peter Gabriel collection, guys. You guys know how much of a big Genesis fan I am. It's hard to find his records. It's been difficult for me to find his records around here in good shape, and all those were in excellent shape. So I just have one more to show. And was this my big buy of the day? It was my most surprising purchase of the day. I was not expecting to find this. So I had this album. My mom bought it for me back in 1989. I wore the cassette out, and I wore her out listening to it. She was done with Metal Church by the time that cassette wore out. So she could go the rest of her life and never have to listen to another Metal Church song. But I found this at a dealer there, and he cut me a great deal on it. He really did. And I didn't know that they were repressing this album. This is not a repress. This is an original 1989 pressing. It's the Direct Metal Master, as you can tell by the hype sticker here. And you see, it's got Fake Healer on it, Anthem to the Estranged, Badlands. I first ran into Metal Church, probably like a lot of you did, Headbangers Ball back in 1989. And the song Badlands was the first I had ever heard of Metal Church. And wow, totally blew me away. Went out, bought the record, the cassette, and just really thoroughly enjoyed some Metal Church. So this was Elektra, the old Elektra label there. And, from 1989, I was happy to get this. It's minty condition. I got a great deal on it. And I didn't know that it was being repressed, but I didn't pay much more for it than I would have a reissue. So anyway, that'll do it for the record show. But really, in this stack of records, the coolest thing about the record show was definitely meeting everybody that I met. I got an opportunity, of course, to meet Cosmic Bryant from Cosmic Vinyl. I got an opportunity to meet Brandon, Mr. Hall of Fame. I got an opportunity to meet Sam and his buddy, and I want to say there was a guy there. I wasn't familiar with his channel. Apparently, he'd stopped making videos for a while. Matt Sands, am I saying that right? So he was a super nice guy too. So, I mean, just the connections that are made. I mean, the cool thing about this record show was like talking to the dealers too. Like, you make friends for a day. And like, these people are your best friends that you've ever had for that day. And that is the coolest thing ever. But of course, meeting people in the vinyl community, like Sam, like Brian, like Brandon, like Matt, is that there's a chance we're gonna cross paths again. We're gonna hang out, and that's what this whole thing is about. So. I just want to thank each and every one of you guys that sub to my channel, each and every one of you guys that comment on my channels. It's so awesome, and it's humbling that even that you guys would even watch this. It's just humbling to me, and I appreciate it, and I enjoy the vinyl community, and I am going to try to make more videos as time goes on. I know I've been lacking in that department, but I've been very busy. But I do have this stack of vinyl, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and cut the next record, or cut the next video today, and try to release this VCLT and other new vinyl pickups later this week. So thanks for hanging out, guys. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. Have a great week. You guys take it easy. Keep digging them records. And peace out. We'll see you guys later. And have a great week.